Steve Harvey couldn't hold back tears when a single mom spoke. What he did next went viral. In a world where stories of resilience often go unheard, one courageous woman dared to share her truth. Maria, a single mother facing insurmountable challenges, stepped onto a stage filled with hope and fear. Little did she know, her heartfelt revelation would not only touch the heart of a beloved television host, but also spark a movement that would resonate with millions. Brace yourself, because what unfolds next is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of compassion. In a small, dimly lit apartment, Maria woke to the sound of her children's laughter echoing through the halls, a sound that usually brought her joy. But today, it felt like a bittersweet reminder of the life she was trying so desperately to hold together. As a single mother, her days were a relentless whirlwind of responsibilities, each moment filled with the weight of unfulfilled dreams and the pressure of everyday survival. Juggling work, school drop-offs, and an endless to-do list, she often felt like a performer in a one-woman show, desperately trying to keep the audience engaged while battling her own insecurities. Every morning began with the same routine: waking her two children, preparing breakfast, and packing lunches, all while keeping an eye on the clock. The familiar scent of pancakes filled the air as she hurriedly flipped them on the griddle, her mind racing with thoughts of the day ahead. Yet, beneath the surface, a deeper struggle simmered. The bills piled up like ominous mountains, looming over her with the threat of financial disaster, the fear of losing their home, and the stability she had worked so hard to create hung over her like a dark cloud. Maria often found herself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling as worry gnawed at her heart, her mind racing with thoughts of how she would provide for her little ones. "What if I can't make it?" she whispered into the darkness, tears threatening to spill over. She fought against the tide of despair that threatened to pull her under, each thought a reminder of her vulnerability. Her children, with their innocent smiles and boundless energy, were her motivation. But they also amplified her fears. She could not afford to fail them. They deserved a mother who could give them everything they needed. Yet the reality of her situation was stark and unyielding. Then came the moment that would change everything. Just when she thought she had a handle on her life, life threw her a curveball that would shake her to her core. A sudden job loss plunged her into a financial crisis, leaving her teetering on the brink of losing everything she had fought so hard to build. The stakes couldn't be higher. Her children depended on her for their safety, their happiness, and their future. With each passing day of unemployment, the weight of her desperation grew heavier, suffocating her spirit. Her heart raced as she opened the mailbox each day, bracing for the inevitable bills and collection notices that seemed to multiply like rabbits, each one a reminder of her precarious situation. But Maria was not one to back down. Deep within her, a flicker of resilience ignited, a fire kindled by the love she felt for her children, and the unwavering belief that she could change their circumstances. She knew she had to find a way to rise above her challenges, to transform her pain into purpose. It was this inner strength that propelled her forward, urging her to take control of her narrative. With courage swelling in her heart, she made a bold decision. She would share her story at an upcoming community event. This was her chance to confront her fears, to voice the struggles that had become her reality, and to seek the support she so desperately needed. As she prepared to step onto that stage, Maria felt a mix of fear and determination swirling within her. The butterflies in her stomach fluttered violently as she rehearsed her speech in her mind, wondering if anyone would truly understand the depth of her struggles. Would her story resonate with others? Would they see her not just as a victim of circumstance, but as a warrior fighting for her family? The moment was fast approaching, and everything she held dear was on the line. This was just the beginning of her journey, and she was ready to face whatever lay ahead, armed with the hope that her voice could inspire change, not just for herself, but for others who felt just as lost. As the evening of the community event approached, Maria felt a whirlwind of emotions coursing through her veins, excitement, fear, and a flicker of hope, battling for dominance within her heart. The venue was bustling with people, a colorful mix of familiar faces, and strangers gathered to share their stories and support one another. The air was thick with anticipation, a palpable energy that surged through the crowd like electricity. Maria stood backstage, her heart pounding in her chest like a drum, each beat echoing in her ears as she prepared to step into the spotlight. She could hear laughter and chatter filtering through the curtains, but all she could focus on was the knot of anxiety tightening in her stomach. "What am I thinking?" she whispered to herself, glancing down at her notes, the ink smudged from her nervous fingers. The words seemed to blur together as her hands trembled. What if no one connects with me? What if they don't care? In that moment of doubt, she took a deep breath, reminding herself of why she was there. This was not just about her. It was about every single mother who felt alone in their struggle, every parent who fought against the tide of despair and uncertainty. Maria knew she had a story that needed to be told, a truth that could resonate with others who felt lost. When her name was finally called, Maria stepped into the spotlight, the warm glow of the stage lights illuminating her face. The audience shifted, their eyes locking onto her as she took her place at the microphone. She could see a diverse crowd, young, old, and everyone in between, each one with their own battles, their own stories. The sight of so many people, all facing their own struggles, filled her with both trepidation and strength. With a deep breath, she began to speak, her voice initially shaky but gradually gaining strength as she found her footing. "Hello, everyone. My name is Maria, and I'm a single mother." The words flowed from her lips, each syllable laced with vulnerability as she shared her journey. The struggles of raising 2 children alone, the sleepless nights filled with worry, and the fear that gripped her heart when she lost her job. She spoke of the sacrifices she made, the moments when she had to choose between paying the bills and putting food on the table. The room grew quiet, her honesty cutting through the noise like a knife, drawing everyone's attention to her plight. As she poured out her heart, she could see the audience leaning in, their expressions shifting from curiosity to empathy. Among them sat Steve Harvey, renowned for his wit and warmth. But now his face was etched with concern and compassion. The more Maria spoke, the more the connection deepened. She shared the realization that her struggles did not define her. Rather, it was her resilience and determination that shaped her identity. "I may be a single mom, but I am not a statistic. I am a fighter, and I am here to tell you that we can rise above our circumstances," she declared, her voice growing stronger with conviction. With each passing moment, the atmosphere in the room transformed. Maria's raw honesty resonated deeply, and she could feel the collective breath of the audience as they empathized with her plight. Tears began to well in her eyes, but she fought to keep them at bay, wanting to convey strength rather than sorrow. Yet, as she looked out at the faces before her, she saw tears reflected back. Understanding, pain, and solidarity. In that moment, Maria realized that she was not alone. She was part of a community that understood her struggles, that was willing to stand by her side. The vulnerability she exhibited opened a door to connection, allowing others to see their own reflections in her words. As she wrapped up her speech, Maria took a moment to gather herself, the emotions swirling within her like a tempest. "We are stronger together," she concluded, her voice steady and powerful. "Let us lift each other up, because that is what community is all about." The room erupted into applause, a wave of support washing over her like a warm embrace. The sound was deafening, enveloping her in a cocoon of encouragement. And then, in the midst of the clapping, she caught sight of Steve Harvey rising from his seat, his eyes glistening with tears. The sight of this familiar figure, usually so composed and confident, now, moved by her words, struck a chord deep within her. Steve stepped forward, his voice breaking slightly as he spoke. "Maria, your story touched my heart. You are an inspiration to us all." The audience erupted in cheers, and Maria felt a rush of emotions: pride, gratitude, and an overwhelming sense of belonging. This was the moment she had hoped for, the connection she had yearned to create. Little did she know, this would be the spark that ignited a movement, one that would change her life forever. The applause felt like a warm blanket, wrapping her in reassurance that her words mattered, that her story was a beacon of hope for others. In the days that followed the event, Maria found herself reflecting on that night. The love and support she received from the community fueled her determination to keep fighting. She began to connect with other parents, sharing resources and stories, forming bonds that would help uplift them all. The ripple effect of her speech began to take shape, as more and more people reached out to her, sharing their own stories of struggle and triumph. Maria realized that her voice could be a catalyst for change, not just for herself, but for others who felt just as lost. In the weeks following the community event, the world felt different to Maria. What had begun as a simple act of sharing her story had transformed into a journey of empowerment and connection. Maria found herself at the center of a burgeoning support network, a vibrant community that had formed around her. It was as if a light had been switched on, illuminating paths she never knew existed, guiding her toward a brighter future. Every day brought new opportunities. She began receiving messages from people who had heard her speak, each one expressing gratitude for her courage and vulnerability. Some shared their struggles, while others reached out to offer help, resources, job leads, and even offers to babysit her children. Maria was overwhelmed by the outpouring of kindness. The loneliness that had once enveloped her began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of belonging and purpose. She realized that her voice had not only resonated with her community, but had also ignited a spark of hope within herself. With renewed determination, Maria took proactive steps to change her circumstances. She enrolled in a local adult education program, eager to learn new skills that would enhance her employability. The classes were challenging, but she thrived in the supportive environment, surrounded by others who were equally committed to bettering their lives. Together, they shared laughter, stories, and the occasional struggle, forming a bond that felt almost familial. Maria felt a sense of empowerment that she hadn't experienced in years, as if she were reclaiming parts of herself that had been lost in the chaos of survival. One evening, after a particularly inspiring class, Maria was approached by a woman named Lisa, a fellow student who had been deeply moved by her speech. "You have a gift, Maria," Lisa said, her eyes shining with sincerity. "You should consider sharing your story more widely. People need to hear it." The idea took root in Maria's mind, and the more she thought about it, the more she realized that her journey wasn't just hers alone. It was a collective experience that could inspire many. Encouraged by this newfound purpose, Maria began to explore opportunities for public speaking beyond the community event. She reached out to local organizations, schools, and workshops, sharing her story of resilience and hope. Each time she spoke, she felt the familiar rush of adrenaline, but this time it was accompanied by a sense of belonging and strength. With every audience she touched, she witnessed the power of vulnerability, a shared understanding that transcended individual struggles. One day, during a speaking engagement at a youth center, Maria met a group of teenagers who were grappling with their own challenges. They were captivated by her words, their eyes wide with recognition as she spoke of overcoming adversity. After the event, several of them approached her, eager to share their stories. Maria listened intently, her heart swelling with compassion. In those moments, she realized the profound impact of her journey, not only on her own life, but on the lives of others. She was becoming a beacon of hope, a reminder that resilience could shine through even the darkest of times. As her confidence grew, so did her influence. Maria began to organize workshops aimed at empowering other single parents and individuals facing hardships. She invited experts to speak on various topics: financial literacy, mental health, and personal development, creating a safe space for people to learn and grow together. The workshops flourished, drawing in participants from all walks of life, each one eager to learn and share their experiences. Maria felt a sense of fulfillment she had never known, as if she were finally walking the path she was meant to tread. However, amidst the blossoming of her new life, challenges still arose. There were days when doubt crept in, whispering insidious thoughts that threatened to undermine her progress. What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? But Maria learned to confront these fears head-on. She reminded herself of the strength she had discovered within, the resilience that had carried her through the darkest nights. With every setback, she found ways to rise again, drawing on the support of her community and the connections she had forged. Maria's journey was not just about her own transformation. It became a catalyst for change within her community. She witnessed others stepping up, sharing their stories, and supporting one another in their journeys. The collective strength of their shared experiences created an environment of empowerment, where vulnerability was celebrated and healing was possible. Together, they were rewriting their narratives, proving that no one was truly alone in their struggles. Through it all, Maria's children remained her greatest motivation. She watched them flourish, their laughter echoing through their home, as they embraced the changes around them. She was determined to teach them the value of resilience and the importance of community. With every step forward, she was not only building a better future for herself, but also laying the groundwork for her children's success. As the sun set on yet another productive day, Maria sat on her porch, reflecting on the incredible journey she had undertaken. The shadows of her past no longer loomed as large as they once had. Instead, they served as reminders of her strength. She smiled at the thought of what lay ahead, knowing that she had the power to shape her destiny. With the support of her community and the strength of her own resolve, Maria was ready to face whatever challenges awaited her, armed with the knowledge that she could rise above anything life threw her way. As the months rolled on, Maria found herself at a crossroads, a place where her newfound strength was both a source of empowerment and a catalyst for deeper challenges. The workshops she had organized flourished, drawing in more participants than she had ever imagined. People were eager to learn, to connect, and to share their own stories of struggle and resilience. Yet, with this growth came an undeniable pressure. Maria felt the weight of expectation resting heavily on her shoulders. She had become a figure of hope, a beacon for others, and the fear of letting them down loomed large in her mind. One evening, after a particularly successful workshop, Maria was approached by a local news reporter. "We'd love to feature your story in the paper," the reporter said, excitement gleaming in her eyes. "You're making such a difference in the community." Maria felt a rush of adrenaline mixed with anxiety. Being in the spotlight was exhilarating, yet terrifying. The thought of sharing her journey with a wider audience filled her with both pride and trepidation. What if the world saw her not as a hero, but as someone still struggling? After much contemplation, she agreed. The interview was set for the following week, and as the day approached, Maria's nerves intensified. She spent hours rehearsing her story, wanting to convey her journey authentically, while also showcasing the positive impact she had made. But as she practiced in front of her bedroom mirror, doubts began to creep in. What if I don't say the right thing? What if people see me as a fraud? These thoughts haunted her, threatening to undermine her confidence. The day of the interview arrived, and Maria stood in her living room, her heart pounding. She wore her favorite blouse, a shade of blue that reminded her of the sky on a clear day, a symbol of hope and possibility. As the reporter arrived, Maria greeted her with a smile, but beneath the surface, her anxiety churned. The camera clicked, and Maria's story began to unfold, each word a testament to her resilience and determination. Yet, as the interview progressed, Maria felt a familiar sense of vulnerability wash over her. Sharing her past, the struggles, the heartbreak, and the moments of despair brought tears to her eyes. She was baring her soul, and with every revelation, she felt a mix of liberation and fear. Would people understand? Would they see her strength or her struggle? The reporter listened intently, nodding in encouragement, creating a safe space for Maria to express her truth. When the interview concluded, Maria felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She had shared her story, imperfections and all. As the reporter left, Maria felt a sense of catharsis. But the aftermath brought a new wave of anxiety. What if the article misrepresented her? What if people judged her? The fear of public scrutiny gnawed at her, and she found herself questioning her decisions. Days later, the article was published, and Maria's story was out in the world. As she opened the newspaper, her heart raced, each page turn filled with anticipation. When she finally saw her name in print, her breath caught in her throat. The article captured her journey beautifully, highlighting not only her struggles, but also the community that had rallied around her. The response was overwhelming. A flood of messages from readers, many of whom shared their own stories, expressing gratitude for her honesty and courage. However, with the positive feedback came criticism. Some comments struck harshly, questioning her capabilities and labeling her as a victim. These words cut deep, igniting insecurities she thought she had overcome. Maria struggled to reconcile the admiration from many with the judgment from a few. The emotional toll began to weigh heavily on her, pulling her back into a place of self-doubt. Am I truly making a difference? Or am I just a talking point for others? She wondered, grappling with the duality of her newfound visibility. Amidst these trials, Maria reached out to her community and the friends she had made through her workshops. They rallied around her, reminding her of the impact she had already made in their lives. You are not a victim. You are our inspiration. one participant exclaimed during a support meeting. Their words reignited the fire within Maria, reminding her of the resilience she had cultivated. She realized that while criticism might sting, it did not define her worth or her journey. With renewed determination, Maria decided to use her experiences to fuel her advocacy further. She organized a community forum, inviting individuals from various backgrounds to share their stories openly. The event was designed to foster dialogue and create a safe space for discussing the struggles many faced. As she planned the forum, Maria felt a sense of purpose wash over her. Each story shared was a step toward healing, a reminder that vulnerability could forge connections and inspire change. On the day of the forum, the atmosphere was electric. Participants gathered, some with nervous smiles, others with tears in their eyes. Maria opened the event by recounting her journey, speaking candidly about the highs and lows she had experienced. As she shared her struggles with public perception, she encouraged others to voice their fears and triumphs without shame. One by one, individuals took the stage, sharing their stories of resilience, heartbreak, and hope. The room became a tapestry of shared experiences, weaving together narratives of struggle and strength. Maria listened, her heart swelling with pride and gratitude. In that moment, she understood the true power of community, how collective healing could emerge from shared vulnerability. The forum was not just a platform for stories, it was a celebration of resilience and a testament to the human spirit's capacity to overcome adversity. As the event concluded, Maria felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The challenges she faced, the criticism, the doubts, had shaped her, but they had not defined her. Instead, they had propelled her forward, allowing her to embrace her role as a leader and advocate. She realized that her journey was ongoing, filled with lessons, growth, and the promise of a brighter future. With the support of her community and the strength of her own resolve, Maria was ready to continue her journey, armed with the knowledge that she could rise above anything life threw her way. As the seasons changed, so did Maria's life. The community forum she had organized became a monthly event, drawing in more participants each time. With each gathering, Maria felt her confidence solidify. She was no longer just a single mother fighting for her family. She was a leader, an advocate, and a voice for many who felt unheard. Yet, amid this newfound sense of purpose, the demands of her responsibilities began to mount, and Maria found herself struggling to maintain balance in her life. With her children growing and thriving, Maria juggled their needs with her commitments to the community. Between school pickups, homework sessions, and her workshops, her days felt like a whirlwind. Sometimes exhilarating, often overwhelming. There were evenings when she felt torn between attending a community meeting and helping her son with his school project. The guilt would gnaw at her, and she often found herself wondering if she was giving enough to either her children or her community. One particularly hectic week, Maria was preparing for a major workshop focused on financial literacy. She had invited a local expert to speak, hoping to empower her community with valuable knowledge. As she set up the chairs and arranged the materials, she received a text from her daughter's teacher expressing concern over her daughter's recent behavior in class. The message hit like a lightning bolt, and Maria felt a wave of anxiety crash over her. Am I doing enough as a mother? What if I'm failing her? She thought, her heart racing. That evening, after the workshop, Maria sat down with her children. She wanted to create a space where they could openly share their thoughts and feelings. Guys, I know things have been busy lately, she began, her voice soft yet steady. I want to make sure you both feel supported. Is there anything you want to tell me?" Her children exchanged glances before her son, Lucas, spoke up. "I just miss having more time with you, Mom. Sometimes it feels like you're always busy." His words struck a chord deep within her. Maria realized that in her pursuit of helping others, she had unintentionally neglected the emotional needs of her own children. "I'm so sorry, Lucas. I want to be there for you both. I'll try to make more time for us," she promised, her heart heavy with the weight of her realization. The conversation was a turning point, igniting a renewed commitment to balance her roles as a mother and a community advocate. Determined to create more intentional time for her family, Maria devised a plan. She began setting aside specific days for family activities, game nights, movie marathons, and outdoor adventures. These moments became sacred, a reminder that while her work in the community was important, her children's happiness and well-being were paramount. As they laughed and played together, Maria felt the connection with her children grow stronger, a bond fortified by the time they shared. Simultaneously, Maria implemented a new structure for her workshops. She enlisted volunteers from her community to help manage logistics, allowing her to focus on the content and the connection with participants. This delegation not only eased her burden, but also empowered others to take active roles in the community, fostering a sense of ownership and collaboration. With the support of her newfound allies, Maria felt a weight lift off her shoulders, allowing her to breathe a little easier. As she embraced this new balance, unexpected opportunities began to emerge. One evening, while attending a local event, Maria met a woman named Karen who worked for a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting single parents. Karen was impressed by Maria's efforts in the community and invited her to collaborate on a project aimed at providing resources and support for families in need. Maria's heart raced at the prospect. This could be the chance to expand her impact even further. Over the following weeks, Maria and Karen worked closely together, crafting a program that would offer mentorship, financial education, and emotional support to struggling families. The initiative gained traction, attracting attention from local businesses and organizations eager to contribute resources. Maria was ecstatic. This was not just an opportunity to help others, but also a chance to create lasting change within her community. However, as the project gained momentum, Maria found herself grappling with the familiar feelings of self-doubt. "Am I really qualified to lead such an initiative?" she questioned, her mind racing with worries. But each time she felt overwhelmed, she would remind herself of the journey she had taken, the challenges she had overcome, the lives she had touched. She drew strength from her community, from the stories shared during their workshops, and from the smiles of her children, who were rooting for her every step of the way. Finally, the day of the program launch arrived. Maria stood before a crowd of eager faces, a mixture of excitement and nervousness swirling within her. She took a moment to gather her thoughts, recalling the countless hours of planning and collaboration that had brought them to this point. With a deep breath, she began to speak, her voice steady and confident. "Welcome, everyone. Today marks the beginning of a journey toward empowerment, connection, and support for all families in our community." The response was overwhelming. Families expressed their gratitude, sharing stories of struggle and hope, eager to participate in the program. As Maria looked out at the crowd, she felt a profound sense of belonging and purpose. This was not just her journey. It was a collective effort to uplift one another, to create a community where everyone could thrive. She realized that her path had intertwined with the lives of many, weaving a tapestry of resilience and hope. In the weeks that followed, the program flourished. and Maria found herself at the heart of a vibrant community of support. Families came together to share their experiences, learn from one another, and build connections that transcended their individual struggles. Maria felt a renewed sense of accomplishment, knowing that her efforts were making a tangible difference in the lives of those around her. Yet, amidst the joy and growth, Maria remained mindful of her priorities. She continued to make time for her children, ensuring that they felt cherished and supported. Together, they navigated the ups and downs of life, learning valuable lessons along the way. Maria understood that balance was not just about managing time. It was about nurturing relationships, cultivating connections, and embracing the beauty of both her roles as a mother and a community leader. As she lay in bed one night, reflecting on the day's events, Maria felt a sense of gratitude wash over her. She had faced challenges, embraced opportunities, and forged connections that would last a lifetime. With the unwavering support of her community and the love of her children, Maria was ready to continue her journey, knowing that every step forward was a testament to her resilience and determination.